You have something in your mind, you are able to create it, build it, and then someone from the other side of the world came and tell you that they want to spread this product to 50 countries in the world, so it's a huge personal achievement.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
On one of the sunniest days of the season, the Integrity Racing League is back in action in Avondale, Arizona. It's a well-known track on our schedule. We go here at least once every year, and for the Tuesday night tour, it was the championship hosting race for several seasons. This time around, we're back in Arizona a little bit earlier, but nevertheless, we're ready for an exciting race. Welcome back to coverage of the 2026 Integrity Racing League. This is the West Coast Classic, and this is race number 4 on our schedule for the 2026 campaign. Welcome back to FTN Broadcasting. I'll be your host for tonight's event. I'm David Kreutz, commentating and producing. We are just about 3 or so minutes away from concluding qualifying and getting on the move. The championship hunt got off to a hot start at the Daytona International Speedway, and the man who dominated last year in the Octane Series is at the top of the board again, with times being taken. So, without further ado, here's your tentative qualifying lineup. You'll see at the very top of it, Ethan Lane finds himself on the provisional pole over Sam Nieto and the number 18 of Cody Smith. That's the way they run right now. Things definitely could change, but as it stands, it is a very familiar bundle at the head of the pack. Here's Aaron Kovnat in the 91, a driver who we're focusing on for the first time. He's one of the rookies this season. Of course, it's going to be tricky to watch out for these rookies as they're still getting to grips with the oval circuits in this series. Top 10 spread all the way around. Bobby Keith could be the last of them. He is in the 6 car tonight in P10. Don Stevenson in 9th. Alex Kim in the 73 is up into 7th. So one of your early race winners on the season, already finding some success. Minute and 36 on the clock. Aaron goes up to 7th on the board. That's a strong run. Puts him right behind Nolan Potter and Nicholas Ward. Bobby Keith is on the inside of the circuit. Nate Campbell is now heading down and in 21st. Robert Richardson gets on the way. Richardson, also a rookie. He now finds himself in 18th. He's exactly at the middle of the field. Ryan Potter slowing it down and backing off. Keith still waiting. Trevor Trago, more of the same. And the 61 of John Zabarro gets up to 9th place on his qualifying tour. So it looks like a strong performance for him so far. With a minute left on the clock, looking to improve. John can't make anything of it. Nevertheless, he is still up in front. So far, no multi-time winners on the campaign. Ethan Lane defending his win from last week. However, otherwise, we saw the week before Blake Cannon and Alex Kim, both with victories. With 30 seconds left on the clock, Randy Fiash, one of only 3 drivers, as you see on the screen, not to have taken a time. Trevor Trago and Kent Wetherell, all of which who have not taken a lap. They're the only ones we will be waiting on in a 36-car field. Blake Cannon now finding himself coming across the final corner. The 44 with a win on the campaign will shoot all the way up to 2nd and is the only driver within 81 thousandths of a second of leader lane on the qualifying charts. 2nd is great, but just not enough to catch up to the man at the top of the board, and that, of course, is Ethan Lane himself. Qualifying has come to a close. We got 5 minutes of time in between for drivers to prepare their equipment, but until that comes to pass, we got a little bit of downtime until we go racing. A great start to the night for Lane and Cannon as they look to be the class of the field on speed. Not too far behind is Sam Nieto, who was only about 100th of a second away from Blake Cannon's time in the qualifying session. Drivers are now due to take some extra practice laps here. Let's see what the racing circuit is like in Avondale, Arizona, as the Phoenix Raceway is back in action. Now, Phoenix is a circuit on iRacing that is very unique in that there are 2 different versions of the racetrack that aren't just different by means of track wear, shall we say. Instead, one of the biggest differences is the fact that these guys have to deal with an entirely different track layout depending on the type of Phoenix Raceway we run at. The original configuration and the new configuration run on the exact same pavement. That's the interesting thing. The difference is just where things are marked down on the racetrack, including the start-finish line, the locations of the numbered corners, and the use of the dog leg. We'll talk about that more when the racing, of course, continues here in just a few moments. Phoenix Raceway has been in operation in the NASCAR Cup Series since 1988. The first ever driver to win at this venue was Alan Kulwicki, one of his 5 career wins, and this was the venue in which the very famous now Polish victory lap was introduced. Today, of course, drivers have a chance to make their own history and find their first win. There's Tom Wetmore down to the inside. Wetmore looking for some sponsors, as you can see. That 51 rather blank compared to usual. He's looking to put it back together for his guys. Of course, Roadhouse Racing. Roadhouse on the season so far as a team. One big win with Blake Cannon and a strong performance at Daytona, but now looking to rebound and really bring the team back up to relevance. That's the end goal. In the final moments of this practice session, he's catching up to Josh Gallagher. It's going to be toe-to-toe once again between these guys. Look further up, there's a 29 of Troy Green. Green tonight will be in the 29 car, so another driver to look out for who is indeed one of those rookies. Rookies are all across the field. 36 of these drivers with us tonight. Not all of them have multi-season experience, and qualifying inside the top 10 as a rookie, well, there's only one, Aaron Kovnat. But not too far behind, you'll see Joe Yates is back in the mix. You'll have Robert Richardson. Richardson is the next highest qualifying rookie with no experience in this field. Alex Kim, again, the Daytona winner, is in 9th and is firmly fighting for Rookie of the Year honors against Aaron Kovnat of Kalof Deitch Racing. Richardson across the line with a minute and 50 seconds remaining, and it looks like drivers in firm control of their equipment tonight. Weather is mild. We'll talk more about the specifics as the race goes on. We have winds in the mid-teens, but temperatures not exceeding 80. Ambient temperature anyway. Track temp might be a little bit of a different story. It's at 88 degrees Fahrenheit right now. Don't be too surprised if later in the going we do indeed end up seeing more than 100 degrees Fahrenheit applied to the drivers and their tires. This warm-up session, pretty solid. Everyone getting their reps in so far. Nick Tarbuck has taken a total of 7 laps. 150 are on the agenda tonight, so if drivers can keep things clean, well, things will be rather fast. If not, of course. And we've seen it play out both ways at Phoenix. It might be a long one. Strategy usually reigns supreme, and oftentimes track position is king. Hey, speaking of track position, we already know who's going to be lining up where, and it's about time now that we show you exactly who those drivers will be and where they will start. At the top of the board, a familiar face and your defending race winner and champion. It's Ethan Lane grabbing the pole position alongside Blake Cannon. Both drivers with a win on the season so far, vying for their second. Number 2 will start in 3rd place is Sam Nieto alongside Cody Smith. Smith, one of the best drivers at Phoenix in particular. Watch out for him as he lines up just ahead of Andrew Hamilton in 5th. Nicholas Ward goes P6. To conclude the top 10, you'll have Nolan Potter, Aaron Kovnat, and Alex Kim just ahead of John DeBarro. 61, he'll line up 10th with Tom Wetmore and Jacob Fife, positions 11 and 12. 13th is Don Stevenson, 14th is Bobby Keith, and Ryan Bean is in the 15th place alongside Zach Schrintenel in 16th. Josh Gallagher's number 96 puts him alongside Joe Yates. They'll go 17th and 18th respectively midway down the lineup. Just after them, Robert Richardson in 19th and Ryan Potter to conclude the top 20 as Troy Green, Aaron Eads, Mick Tarbuck, and Eric McFarland take it down to 24th, with their final driver in the top 25 being Nate Kemp. Campbell. 26th place is Matthew Cornell. 27th is Sean Kalis. Eli Cars will be in 28th with Matt Jonas and Brant McClendon last in the top 30. Your final drivers from there, Austin Cardules, David Davis, and Thomas Lind, the last to take a time. Lind is in 33rd. Your last three, Trevor Trago, Randy Fiash, and Kent Wetherell, all opting not to take times, and they will be at the caboose of this 36-car lineup. 18 filled rows, 36 Integrity Racing League drivers, all vying for the checkered flag in the West Coast Classic. Welcome back to Phoenix, Arizona. That is your starting lineup, and as we take a look downstairs, this is your field. Led off by Ethan Lane, the pace car is on its way, and Lane has control as we bring him up to speed. It'll be Lane and Cannon. Get the ball rolling. We welcome the field to 150 laps of racing. The iRacing official pace car will quickly turn down low at the end of turn 2, giving these drivers a long run down the back straightaway just past pit entry. Lane, the odds-on favorite perhaps based on his performance at Phoenix last season, but watch out big time for a Phoenix ringer in Cody Smith, and of course Blake Cannon starting on the outside here. Front row will be king, track position is pivotal, benefiting from it on this launch is everything. It's all about the start for Ethan Lane and Blake Cannon as they get things moving. Welcome back to racing action way down south in the desert. It's the Phoenix Raceway and we are green for the fourth race of the 2026 season. Lane and Cannon jockeying for position side by side. They've got the rest of the field in control just behind them. The field is on its way and led quickly by Ethan Lane, who, as we expected, getting the jump off the inside line, takes the race lead and has full control. Not a big surprise. We've seen it before in the past times we've gone to this track. Ethan Lane, no stranger to his victories here. As we get things rolling, of course, for the first time tonight, things to expect with regards to strategy. Let's lay some of the ground rules out that all drivers are absolutely going to be following. Tires, tires, tires. As it stands, the track temperature is 87 degrees Fahrenheit, which for Phoenix Raceway standards is very mild, very comfortable, and very much an advantage for the field if they want to push a little bit harder. Already seeing some tight racing between Aaron Kopp, Tom Wetmore, and Alex Kim, just behind the leading bundle, and goes to wonder how long are these drivers going to go on their runs. Lap number 75 is the halfway point, 50 the third way marker, but keep in mind that every lap is just about a mile in length, so that's not a lot of mileage each time by. The iRacing estimate based on, of course, the next-gen fuel cell that we're seeing right now is about 90 to 100 miles for a run if drivers run at a regular pace. So going beyond the halfway marker is very achievable tonight if drivers want to do so. It might actually be a safe strategy call, which when we go to an intermediate racetrack is not at all the case with 150 laps, but since Phoenix is a half mile shorter, coming in at a mile each time, that is very much possible. John DeBarro with a swerve down the inner groove, and the brand new look for Jacob Fife, red, white, and blue for Integrity, now on its way. Fife with a brand new look. He's got integrity all over, and Pro Powder Paint as the secondary sponsor now. Next Level Racing on the deck lid, all the premier partners of this series, as of course we are in our 14th year of racing. Beginning in 2012, the Integrity Racing League has been doing sim racing right ever since. And right now, Fife trying to get himself inside the top 10. He's knocking on the doors. We take a look on board. Many times previous has Jacob Fife come to Phoenix Raceway in a playoff position. However, the most important race that the Tuesday Night Tour has seen here in the past 5 years, he was not one of the championship eligible drivers. In fact, the driver who ended up winning it all was Seth Noel over Ross Cato. Now, neither of those drivers are here with us in a full-time capacity any longer. However, one driver who was in that title fight who is with us today is a little bit further on track than we would expect. He's up 7 places. It's Nick Tarbuck. Nick, one of the fastest in this field over the last few years, has gotten off to a little bit of a colder start here tonight. But don't be too surprised if he pulls it all back together in due time. He's already got himself 2 podium finishes on the season. 3rd place, a pair of 3rd places, one of which at Daytona, the next of which last week at the Circuit of the Americas. He's got some of the best point finishes so far on the table, and with those early successes, he finds himself right in the thick of the championship hunt. As a matter of fact, he finds himself as the title leader, 12 points up on Nicholas Ward, 13 further points up on Don Stevenson. That's a gap of 25, and right now 41 points ahead of race leader Ethan Lane. So the championship leader heading into the night is Nick Tarbuck. When it comes to the rookie standings, the leading rookie in the points table is Alex Kim. Kim, who runs in 6th place right now, finds himself 29 points off of the championship lead, and he's got himself a very solid grasp on that upper fight. Alex, of course, getting that critical victory at Daytona, helping him out a whole lot. He is in the mix. If he wants to put down a few more good races, you might just see him up there. Nick Tarbuck, of course, a lot of work to do, but he's done quite a bit so far, getting up to 15th and heading there on Bobby Keith. Taking a look further behind, Campbell to the high side on Josh Gallagher. Campbell qualified in 25th, again, perhaps below the expectations we have of that 45 team. And now he's trying to pull it all back together. Campbell off to a rockier start than I think he would like to expect out of himself. He is currently 21st in the championship race. Finds himself there, admittedly. It's tricky. 1 provisional already counted for him. Hasn't yet gotten himself to victory lane, and to this point, a stage victory, the biggest thing he can hold his head up on. Nevertheless, a lot of time left in the season. Remember, we are going for more than 20 regular season races, a longer regular season race total than what we've had over the course of the past few years. So time isn't going to be a killer when we're talking about March, April, May. The summer months, however, when drivers really do have to step it up a notch if they want to ensure they'll be in the fight for the rest of the campaign. 21st place right now is where Campbell lies. Not a lot of racing action going on there. The tightest battles inside the top 10 are in its bottom half. John DeBarro and Tom Wetmore are close, but it's going to be even tighter now as Sam Nieto tries to look at Andrew Hamilton as a driver he can get by. Hamilton is the second driver to take on the 24 this season. Previously, it was Chris Schetzler, and it looks like now the Tennessee Vols machine piloted by Hamilton instead, qualifying an exceptional 5th place. This is one of Hamilton's best ever race starts, and he finds himself in the upper echelon conversation very, very early. Good to see for him, of course, building up some early momentum. And you gotta wonder, what can he do with it? Hamilton in the mix, up and at the head of the board. He's got a lot to fight for. 17 laps in out of 150 and a lot of time to fight for it. Sam Nieto getting closer and closer. So far in the season, Nieto has not yet gotten himself to a top 5 finish. He would love to change that tonight, as would Cody Smith. Last top 5, which was last week, saw Ethan Lane, Nicholas Ward, Nick Tarbuck, John DeBarro, and Ryan Bean. You might remember last year it was Scott Eckert who really rose to prominence and ended up winning the early road races before Ethan Lane took them back over. Andrew Hamilton here, continuing to put down a block, but he gets himself up banged in the wall. Cody Smith has cut down a whole lot of time on this fight, and I think he's going to be the next guy to throw his hat in the ring as we take a look inside the cockpit for Cody Smith. And you can see he is right here, taking it into the dogleg and following Andrew Hamilton. Maybe going to look for some room now to get by Hamilton first. Next, Sam Nieto. Side-by-side battle. It remains that way as they go through fighting for podium places. Cody Smith is going to drop all the way to the inside here. That gets him toe-to-toe with Hamilton. And it'll be Sam Nieto now, third to third, maintaining his position. Doesn't have to concern himself all too much. Dropping back. Defensive measures play out well, and the Smith and Hamilton fight distracting one another. Keep him in check. There's Nick Tarbuck once again. Nick finding himself right now just behind Don Stevenson. And he's in a big train of drivers here who are in the upper mid-pack. It begins with a side-by-side fight just ahead. John DeBarro getting to the inside now on Aaron Kovnat. Aaron letting him have that lower groove. So now DeBarro tries to work it, can't quite get there. Better run for the 91 off the corner, and the battle of the rookies keeps on going. Alex Kim versus Aaron Kovnat. Alex already getting himself a win on the season. Aaron still chasing some of that bigger success. However, right now, they are just about exactly where they began, although both have moved up. Alex has gone from 9th to 6th. Now, with Aaron being passed, he'll go from 8th to 8th. We'll see if he can pull it on the inside here and keep that groove working in his favor. But it doesn't look like it's enough. And it's going to be side by side just behind Tom Wetmore. 3 wide middle. He'll have to his inside now. One driver, that will be the 34, Nolan Potter, and another one in Don Stevenson to his outside. Still 3 as they head toward turns 1 and 2. It's going to be Wetmore boxed up in the middle. Stevenson with a much better run as they head down the back straightaway, and it will be advantage Stevenson, advantage Wetmore as Nolan Potter backs off. Stevenson now is trying to use that outside to slingshot behind to ahead on Tom Wetmore, and that he will. Wetmore gets past, so does Nolan Potter. Don Stevenson able to convert a 3-wide scenario. Highly risky, making it a huge opportunity to get further up there as he chases after Jacob Weiss. Single file at the upper echelon of the field, 25 laps in out of 150. Let's remind you of some critical numbers to keep in mind. Lap 50, the third waypoint. After that, lap 75. It's going to be halfway when we look at what's next to come. That will probably be when pit road becomes viable. The window is going to be open for almost the majority of the night, from lap 50 onward anyway, but it doesn't make sense to go in too early so as to not jeopardize yourself. As it stands right now, everyone going to stay on track. Here's a look at Trevor Trago, 34th up to 29th, as there's a battle now at the tail end of the field involving Ryan Potter, Matthew Cornell, and Trago. Trago goes low, and meanwhile up at the head of the pack, we'll see if there's a battle. Ethan Lane, nothing yet. Timing and scoring indicating, though, as these two break away, there is still some tension for third. Cody Smith getting closer now to Sam Nieto and working it high. Interesting that we saw it from Don Stevenson and now we do from Cody Smith. The high side might just be a feasible place to go to get some good runs in. Not something we always see out of the Phoenix Raceway, and yet tonight it looks like it might just be possible to do things a little bit different. and benefit from it at the same time. While Smith decides to cut hard to the inside down the straightaways here, he's working it, especially out of turns 1 and 2, right up top. He decides to use the higher and middle groove, get a slightly better run than Nieto by cutting down and getting that upper momentum to save him. Then everyone goes down to the inside through 3, and as they come towards the start-finish line, rising up, Smith again going to be very, very lenient in his use of that dog leg. He will take everything he can, and then some. So let's talk a little bit more about the racetrack we're on tonight, the Phoenix Raceway. We mentioned it before. There are some differences between what you typically see and, of course, what used to be of the Phoenix Raceway. Over the course of the last 10 or so years, this is the layout that everyone has become very, very aware of. You got that start-finish line position between corners. You got the wide open paved dog leg and the back straightaway coming out of turn 2. But from 1988 up until about 10 years ago, that wasn't at all how things were. The start-finish line was right about here at the middle of the back straightaway. The first set of corners was where drivers go through the final set now, and the dog leg, where drivers take it down to the inside of the track on the apron, didn't exist. It was grass. Wasn't paved, wasn't allowed to be used unless you were exiting pit road. This track basically flipped on its head by ISM over the last decade, and that's given it a completely different racing feel. For one, it's a different layout. You plan of course, where you overtake, you plan your strategy a little different depending on where you are on the racetrack, and there's more intention out of that first set of corners now, 1 and 2 in the modern setup, because you want to get a good run through the back straightaway and then dive deep toward the start-finish line. Pit road also becomes different because that's in the middle of the lap rather than the end. But the biggest deal that every driver can see has to be the use of the apron and its existence. You go to the old version of Phoenix on iRacing and it's not there. Instead, well, you have a much different looking version where it's all grass, and you can't just cut down to the lower groove. That's just not possible. Not allowed, and also not possible, but these drivers have a lot more racing room to use if they'd like to. You know, for all the talk we have about racing room, not a lot of it has been used so far. Drivers a lot more comfortable just staying in their lane and keeping it one driver at a time, mostly single file. A lot of it has been that way all night long so far. The smallest gaps remain small, but mostly anyway without competition. Now we might see a shot from the 97. So watch out as Nicholas Ward looks for an opportunity on Don Stevenson. Same goes now for Aaron Kovnat and Jacob Fife. This would be for the 8th position if Jacob can get it. Right now, Aaron finding himself there in the 91. He's in jeopardy of losing it quick. Up a little bit higher, 3 wide goes Alex Kim. And too close for comfort, perhaps. Kim wiggles up the track, and it'll be a 2-for-1 pass for Jacob Fife if he tries it. But he won't. He'll back off ever so slightly. Get ahead of Alex Kim. Aaron Kovnat now finding himself work 3 wide high. This brings in Tom Wetmore. 4 drivers looking for spots now. Alex getting the inside lane. Aaron Kovnat getting shot high. That might just take him out of the top 10 if push comes to shove. Jacob Fife, the big winner out of this one, now up 5 places from where he qualified. He has himself in 7th. Remember, he began the day in 12th. Avoiding the chaos and getting out just right. Jacob Fife, a lucky man after that circumstance. Jacob has himself leading a very, very close battle now between multiple rookies and veterans alike. Aaron Kovnat getting away and ahead of Alex Kim now. So Aaron will lead all rookies on the racetrack for the first time tonight. Wetmore tucked in low on Kim and is blocking that inside line hard. Not much you can do right now if you're the number 73. Ride it out. I think ideally he's going to get himself into that little window that's opening right now behind the 51 and ahead of the 47 to Don Stevenson. That's what he does. But look who's now in the mix. Nick Tarbuck. Nick is up 10 spots on the day, and he finds himself now right on the window of the top 10. Taking it down low on Nicholas Ward. His first chance to get into that top dozen, and it looks like it's going to be pretty simple. He definitely leans in harder through the entry of the corner. Alex Kim with a wiggle. Ward is blocked up high. He won't be able to get out of it there. Still going to be side by side, the 4, the 97 as they head through. 41 laps in out of 150. Rewind here. Nick Tarbuck, Nicholas Ward, Alex Kim, another example of 3 wide action. Oh, contact! Kim and the Tarbuck off the back of Nicholas Ward. The first caution of the night flies. 3 wide at the head of the field, and we've got problems. 42 laps in. Let's take a look as the yellow flag is out. Caution's out. 3 wide racing, the early culprit. But let's see on a step-by-step level what exactly got us there. They were banging doors off each other, and it looks like Ward slightly overcorrects into Alex Kim. That takes Kim down into Nick Tarbuck. Nolan Potter watches, avoids it, and the 3 involved head right up to the top of the track. Luckily, nobody else will make contact with them, as it's Alex Kim, Nicholas Ward, and Nick Tarbuck affected. Caution is out. The field will get very lucky not to hit any of those 3. And we will take a look back one more time, this time around on board with Tarbuck, as the sequence came to pass. And no warning there for Tarbuck as he gets spun up into the wall, tagged and around. Yellow's out for the first time tonight, and I got to think everyone's down to pit road here. Ethan Lane focusing on him. He's getting his service right now, and he is due to get on the way. Heading out of pit road, he'll win the battle over Blake Cannon, Sam Nieto, Cody Smith, Anthony DeBarro, Hamilton, Fife, Cobnott, Wetmore, Stevenson. That is the end of your top 10, all of which coming out of pit road that time by. Hey, keep this in mind. We're 44 laps in out of 150. We're under yellow right now. We will restart at lap 46. So, we're going to have about 104 laps to go, about 104 miles. If we were to get 2 more yellows and go green the rest of the way, these drivers could go the distance. They could by means of intense fuel saving, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. We'll see if that ends up really happening, but keep it in mind as it is a chance for the first time tonight for the 1-stopper to come and play. I got a feeling, though, that it will be a 2-stopper, more popular from this point. End-of-line penalty is assigned to Nicholas Ward. He will start this runoff in the 29th position. Take a look at the back of the field. We'll move it back up. Ward at the back. Nick Tarbuck now 1 lap down after that incident. It's 2x2 all the way down. Led by Ward, seconded by Blake Cannon. Third is Sam Nieto. Fourth is Cody Smith. Top 5 concludes with John DeBarro in the number 61, and he's about ready to keep things moving for himself. He's the biggest mover in the top 5, up 5 places. Lane and Cannon and Nieto. The podium remains exactly as it was. Green flags out for your first restart of the day. We're back on the move. It is Lane in control. Ethan gets the jump just as he did to start this race, and it's a very similar spread all across the field. As a matter of fact, of your original top 10, only 2 of them have fallen out since due to incident. Zach Schrintenall coming up on Bobby Keith. Schrintenall shooting out and wide, trying to use that outside to his advantage. Not a lot of drivers have yet had a chance to make that work. Don Stevenson looks like the best example. Schrintenall going to follow in his footsteps and make it ahead of Bobby Keith, clearing him that time around. 47 laps in out of 150, rapidly approaching the next marker, the 100 lap to go mark. 48 laps remaining, of course, on a 50-50 split from here if drivers attempt to go for it. We talk about the 50-50 from this point because that would get drivers to a long third and final stint. We still could see the race split up into thirds. If we were to go green all the way, I don't think everyone could go the distance. However, a caution or two would flip that narrative on its heads. Intense fuel saving might be the difference between making it that far and falling out of winning contention, though. So I gotta wonder who's gonna be the first driver to really consider laying back, maybe even doing some clutching and coasting actively during the green flag portion. That's sometimes we see that strategy in effect at the intermediates during desperation time, but maybe preparing early makes all the change. Tucking down and in. 24 of Andrew Hamilton, again low on Cody Smith. Hasn't quite made the pass, but Hamilton remains in the 5th spot. Fight remains tight as Aaron Kovnat is now up to the high side of the circuit. He would decide to forego the dog leg and let Andrew Hamilton take it all the way down to the bottom. Kovnat briefly in 5th there, but getting run up the circuit as he takes the outside versus Hamilton. Andrew Wiggles, big mistake. The rookie in the 91 gets it up to 5th just off of that. Alex Kim right now is in 27th after the incident, and his right side damage is clear, but it looks like he's quick enough now to get into the draft and stay there at the very least. Ethan Lane remains your leader, that time by about 0.8 of a second. It looks like that's going to be the gap he leads the field with as he comes across the stripe again. Aaron Kovnat now seeing some pressure from John DeBarro. Take a look at the second half of the top 10 here as they continue their climb. Notably, John DeBarro deciding to use the dog leg. Jacob Fife just going to keep on following. And it looks like DeBarro is fast using that inside. He's going to get a full clearance around the 91. Crossover maneuver as Kovnat goes down to the inside. Aaron again making it stick as he gets it down low. I think it's going to be John DeBarro who gets it done that time by anyway, at least for the position. Jacob Fife now looking to make it a 2-for-1 and get by Kovnat to a further extent. Less than 100 laps remaining now. We are less than 20 away from the halfway point once we cross the start-finish line this time by. Jacob Fife further down low. A lot of tight battles in the mid-pack. Most of these battles being settled in the upper half of it. And the leading guys, particularly Lane and Nieto Cannon, have broken away from everyone. Cody Smith getting there alongside John DeBarro for 4th. DeBarro trying to get the run on the high side. Cody Smith looking to defend and using the outside as the offensive line become increasingly common. DeBarro definitely trying that tactic right now, and as you can see, it's giving him some moderate success, and we might just be able to call it good success as he gets that run and returns to P4. Jacob Fife now eyeing 5th place. What can he do with DeBarro next up? Cody Smith as well. Tom Wetmore, Jacob Fife alongside each other. Andrew Hamilton continues to watch. He's in 9th. And don't forget about your 10th place driver. That is Nolan Potter. Nolan is right there. He absolutely has the speed to keep it moving. And he's there, watching and waiting, qualifying in 7th. If anything is to happen, Potter will be the first to sweep in. Multiple gear shifts for Nolan Potter as we ride on board. That is interesting because we haven't heard that out of anyone so far tonight. Of course, taking our first in-depth look on the onboard, up to 5th, hitting the rev limit, down to 4th. And this time by through 1 and 2, keeping it in gear 4. Although we've seen Potter decide to take it into 3rd. He just got passed there by Andrew Hamilton. What is Hamilton doing that's different? 4th gear into the final corners and getting a good rotation to head to the dog leg. Shifting once, but not twice there. 3rd gear, maybe an unconventional choice, as Hamilton finds himself inching up on Jacob Fife. It's the battle for 8th. Nolan Potter continues to watch and wait as we approach the halfway point again. These drivers have to go 104 laps on this stint if they are to go all the way green on it, which isn't impossible, but the estimate that we have is that 90 laps to 100 laps will be clean. And not only that, the risk further after becomes a lot higher. The longer you go, the less likely it is you can stick it out, and if you end up being caught on track without making it the whole way, that's an opportunity for a yellow flag to fly, and you could fall several laps down. Last pit lap for these guys, number 44, so they have gotten to this point about 20 laps into that run. Some drivers a little bit earlier, but they all went in by and large at the same time. Andrew Hamilton has fallen behind with a scrape on the wall that gives Nolan Potter an opening, but it's going to be Jacob Fife and Aaron Kovnat again. Aaron is in 7th. He's been comfortably there so far, and alongside a sea of race winners and champions, Aaron, as a rookie, has really held his own. Perhaps one of the brightest rookie promises of the 2026 season. Of course, Alex Kim already proving his worth and then some with the Daytona win. And he's high up there in the championship. But I think Aaron Kovnat is one of those drivers who needs to break out and finally get the results rolling. Had a good run going last week of the Circuit of the Americas before damage, and the 91 team wasn't able to make it to the end of the World Center of Racing. So that's 2 races that are basically a wash. Now trying to find the balance between good performances and aggression, risk-taking anyway. Jacob Fife gets by. That's going to knock Kovnat down to P8. Aaron, as it stands, is 82 points back on the overall championship lead with 1 top 10 in 3 races. Having spoken to him before this race got going, he's a driver who feels he could have gone for all 3 of those top 10s had it not been for some misfortune at Coda and, of course, wrecking from the head of the field at Daytona. Definitely a lot to look out for here between he and Alex Kim. While Alex right now is struggling and finds himself running in 26th place, a lot of that can be attributed to the damage he got way earlier in this one, and as a result, next week I'm sure is going to be much better. The rookie battle between he and Aaron Kovnat is going to be a thriller for sure, and you got to watch out for it because a driver like Alex Kim, we expected a lot out of, and so far he has proven he is the real deal. Now to see what he can do when the stakes are higher. 67 laps in right now for Ethan Lane, and Lane is sailing home free. It doesn't look like he's got anyone in sight, and he is 2 seconds up on Sam Nieto. Closest to going one lap down would be the 70 of Kent Wetherell, who is at the last end of this big leading train. Ethan Lane isn't going to put him one down, at least for now. Looks like he's still too far out for that to be a consideration. Closest battles, up and in front. Well, we'll try to look all around because so far the top 10 has remained rather mellow. Maybe a little bit further back would give you the answer, as Nolan Potter right now is seeing some battles, and there to get inside the top 10. Ryan Bean and Aaron Kovnat in different positions but in the same place. Aaron right now is defending his stuff in the top 10 as the yellow flag will fly for the second time today. Caution is out. The cause on the field, well, let's figure it out. Yellow flies. Ethan Lane rolling to a standstill. It looks like yellow flag sees Matt Jonas go 2 laps down and disconnect. Trying to get a better read on Matt here. Was in and out toward the end of that run, and there you have it. It looks like contact, and he ends up parked on the inside. So Jonas was alone at the time of incident. A little bit of scraping, and a yellow flag will fly. Jonas parking it on the inside there. The cause for concern, and hence the cause for caution, as the 15 will retire for the night. And the caution flies for the second time today. It's going to bring just about everyone down to pit road, and if it wasn't a safe bet before, it is now. The 2-stopper can bring them to the end of the race by going right around halfway. Ethan Lane dropping in, a majority of the field choosing to do so, however not everyone, as Tom Wetmore, Jacob Fife, Andrew Hamilton, Brant McClendon and company stay out, and Blake Cannon gets off of pit road first. 7 drivers stay out. Cannon first off pit road. Then it's Lane, Nieto, Cody Smith, Anthony DeBarro, Blake Cannon, Aaron Kovnat, Nolan Potter, Kent Wetherell, Ryan Bean, and Troy Green in that order on their departure. Pit road now noticeably emptier as Ethan Lane is bested. First time tonight, he is not the leader in any capacity. Blake Cannon is the winner off of pit road. Tom Wetmore is your leader overall and will be making a risky gamble to stay at the front of the field with only 7 drivers agreeing to this strategy decision. Last time he and this group went down to pit road, the holdouts, was lap number 43. Coming up on 30 laps of tire separation. He will be the leading man on old rubber, getting the second restart of the night. It'll be Tom Wetmore, Jacob Fife, Andrew Hamilton, Brant McClendon, Ryan Potter, David Davis, and Matthew Cornell, in that order, leading the field back up to green. We'll head back to work with lap number 73 on the agenda. Halfway point, less than 5 laps away, at which point the stage points will be assigned. Wetmore gets a good jump, even with that older rubber, and it looks like right now, while the field is spread, the caution is the trouble at the back of the field. Yellow flag is out, and we have problems way back there. Wetmore and the leaders get away. but it's going to involve Thomas Lind and company further back. Yellow flag is out. Watch this. As the pace car went in, I believe it is Eli Cars among those who went around. Here's the 82. 32 on the lead lap right now. That probably will change after this. Now it's back and forth as he was right at the tail end of the field here, and you can see the 82 there. Oh, Alex Kim contacting the Josh Gallagher, sends the 96 up into the 82, and the yellow flag flies. So taking a look with Alex Kim might show you a different perspective of the catalyzing incident. Just a little late in the braking zone, and the caution flies. Mistake from the 37 brings us back down to speed, caution speed, and Alex Kim back down to pit road. So we'll be coming toward the halfway marker of this race under yellow. Tom Wetmore, with that, will win some stage points, some much needed stage points for the Roadhouse Racing team. For Wetmore, these will be the first stage points he's able to accumulate on the season, and the first stage win as well. Tom finding himself far out of the championship race right now. That's because he's only run one race and is currently 40th in the standings. It's a big break by leading at the halfway point. Jacob Fife second, Hamilton third, McClendon fourth, Potter in fifth, Cannon sixth, Lane seventh, Davis eighth, Smith ninth, and Cornell in 10th, all gaining critical stage points. Come across the line at lap number 75, halfway points awarded, halfway down, halfway to go. There are 75 laps remaining till this race is over. We'll get back at it at lap number 77, your third restart of the day. It's a double file fight with Wetmore back where he was for the previous run. He's now leading his second restart of the day. Ryan Potter in the highest position he's been in all night long. Let's find out what happens now as the Old Tire Brigade gets their second chance. They're back to work. Second half now on the way, and the green flag rolls for Wetmore and Hamilton as multiple drivers take it all the way down to the apron. Look at Ethan Lane, aggressive all the way down low, nearly cutting into pit road. He'll get up there into fourth. The caution's out again. Now that was some aggressive racing. And it's going to be again Eli Cars with some problems. Here's a look. We take a look back. The yellow flag flies. Eli Cars among those involved. This again caught at the tail end of the field, so tricky to get a full replay on, as it looks like this was outside of the top 30. Cars in 32nd ends up spun around and alone. See here, limping away, front end damage. So his second incident of the night. And this will leave us now with our fourth caution as Eli heads to pit road. 73 laps to go. Alex Kim to pit road to get some continued repairs. The Jurassic Auto detailing machine with damage once more. Unfortunate for Cars, as it looks like again some minor problems have really exacerbated along the way. Andrew Hamilton to pit road, leaving Tom Wetmore out there. Battling once more up in front is Ethan Lane and Blake Cannon. They are now 4th and 5th respectively, and off of a huge drive from the 44 Cannon and the 84 Lane. Those two just dropping into the inside of the circuit and confidently making their way in. I'll tell you this much, that's excitement, but it also shows they've got a leg up on the field pace-wise that can't really be taken away. Eli Carr is given the end-of-line penalty for that one. Josh Gallagher disconnecting for the night, so some quick changes before we go racing again. Heading now to 1 lap to green. We will have 70 laps remaining for our 4th restart of the night. We'll get back to work with Wetmore and Fife the front row. Wetmore's been here a few times before. Jacob Fife, well, I'll tell you this much, he's getting his first chance. Blake Cannon running on the outside. He's there in 4th. Looks like now Ethan Lane moves up to as high as P3. Take 4 at speed, led by Tom Wetmore. These yellow flags are huge for his strategy, not helping everyone else. Green flags out again. Lane has gotten himself up to 2nd. Watch the battle for the lead and watch behind. They're clean further on back, but already the 84 set to put on some big pressure. Double file, sometimes 3 wide in this mix. 3 wide again. There you go. David Davis right alongside Troy Green and Zach Schrintenel. But it looks like now Ethan Lane has a shot to take the race lead. Lane low. Wetmore up on the racing circuit. Lane is somehow comfortable all the way down on the apron. Down there alone. And he is still the fastest driver on the track. Coming into your final corner, Lane looking to get the lead back, and as he comes across the start-finish, yes, he will. Poised perhaps for his 2nd win of the season, Ethan Lane is back in control. Sam Nieto and John Zabarro here find themselves very close. Matter of fact, it's Zach Schrintenel, Ryan Potter, and Troy Green, the closest pair. As they run, Troy Green is now the highest positioned rookie as he's gotten himself up into 11th place, looking for what could be his very first top 10. Not too far back, though, Aaron Kovnat with some damage repairs is quick too, and he's in 12th. Kovnat looking for top 10, number 2 in the season. Trying to rebound from his early incident, which involved, among others, Nicholas Ward and Alex Kim. Kim ending up bearing the brunt of the load in that contact, as Nicholas Ward is also back up in the top 15. For Alex, things haven't worked out quite as well. He's in 28th place right now after starting in 9th, and although, yes, he's got a points buffer compared to those other 2 drivers, a night like this going down the drain when it was clear he had upper half speed is tricky for a first-time full-season contender. Down to the inside, a save and a big one from Thomas Lind in the 0-5. Thomas will keep it together, and you saw him there coming out of 2. Looked like he was loose, but the Budweiser Chevrolet will carry on. That could have been horrible. Luckily, Thomas is going to back it down, lock it in, and control himself to continue again. Very solid effort there from Thomas Lind, as Sam Nieto now finds himself the 2nd man chasing Ethan Lane. Nolan Potter right there, Cody Smith as well. Tom Wetmore now wraps up the top 5. Of your top 10 drivers, the biggest mover is Nate Campbell. Campbell up from 25th to 9th. That's a gain of more than 15 over the course of the day so far. Ryan Bean ducking low. It's double file, many a way down. Bean finding himself defended upon hard by John DeBarro. And it's getting exciting here again to get into the top 10. This has been the most competitive bubble all race long. Aaron Kovnat with a huge shot. He gets just the right shove at the right time, but he nearly takes it up the track on DeBarro. Nate Campbell with some problems. What's going on for Campbell there? He drops way, way back in just one lap. Here's a replay, and we'll try to show you what caused it, as it looks like we just barely missed it. Heading upstairs, Campbell again was in the mix with Aaron Kovnat, and it looks like just a nudge that went wrong. Up high, and off the side of Ryan Bean, he ended up sliding down to 26th. Meanwhile, the fight up here continues. Aaron Kovnat is coming up on Tom Wetmore, and he has 4th. This is for 7th. And pretty quickly, Aaron is going to make it. Troy Green leads all rookies, and not only that, he's up 15 places as he finds himself 6th from 21st on the lineup. Aaron, 8th to 7th, back to what was the status quo for him early on. Perhaps the expectations a little bit higher for Aaron given his qualifying position, but that doesn't mean anything now that we're all racing against one another. As a field right now, it doesn't really matter where you start. It really, of course, matters where you finish. It's very obvious, right? But the journey for Aaron or anyone involved in an incident is a little bit different than someone who's gone cleanly from the front of the field or someone who's had to go from the back of the field. The qualifying position to the race finish doesn't always tell the same story. Of course, right now, the easiest story to tell would be Ethan Lane. He qualified first because he was the fastest. He's led the most laps because he's the fastest. And say he does win this race, it's not a guarantee. If he does, well, I mean, we wouldn't be too surprised. He has been, by and large, the fastest all night. But what do you make of a driver like Troy Green, who has not been the fastest driver all night? Didn't even qualify that well to begin with. And now he's up there against some of the best who have led laps tonight. That is a huge deal for Green and a huge jumpstart to what could be a good run of races for a rookie. Every race matters, and a good one like this could give you a few 4 or 5 above average races just because you have that wind in your sails. And that's the story of good strategy. Planning things out, get the advantage over your competitors. Last pit lap, the 29 of Troy Green was lap 70, which looks to be consensus for most drivers, except Andrew Hamilton went in around lap 80 and is here now in 8th. He has a little bit of liberty now to run longer and with more aggression than drivers who are around him. I think that's going to net him at least one more spot, be it Troy Green or Aaron Kovnat or whoever he ends up coming on. But either way, Hamilton is the anomaly in that sense. Everyone else is basically running identical strategies. 90 is Sean Kalist here. He's in 16th. Now head-to-head with the old rubber on Tom Wetmore's number 51. Wetmore was able to lead a few consecutive restarts, but what happens when those restarts end, the pace starts to be everything. Unfortunately, anyway, for Wetmore, no guarantee he's going to get a rebound and another opportunity. Highly difficult in a situation like this to plan out what's next. And while we had those early green flag runs, things were very simple. Now for Wetmore, who's trying the alternative call and missing the mark, readjusting to get back on target is far harder. It's going to take quite a lot of patience. That's one thing. Right now, he's getting ruffled up by multiple drivers. Doesn't mean that they're trying to wreck him, but very clearly, he's fading out of line. Bobby Keith is going to get by. Now Joe Yates is coming at him. This is to hang on to the top 20, let alone being in the fight, is a completely different conversation. 52 laps to go, coming to 51. Troy Green still in the mix here. There's Zach Schrintenel. Zach now scored that time by in 5th, but he'll drop to 7th fast as Aaron Kovnat is inside the top 5 and leads Andrew Hamilton through. Hamilton has a great chance to take that right back from Aaron Kovnat, and again, we mentioned why. He's got the newer rubber, and he's getting in there. 5th gear, a late shift down to 4th, not as eager to get on the gearbox compared to other drivers. Now rocketing off again. Andrew Hamilton here, by all means, has the advantage in the battle equipment-wise between he and Aaron Kovnat. He's got the fresher rubber, fresher tire, more grip on the track, the faster you can go 9 times out of 10. But it looks like right now it's not really panning out the way that we expected it to. Meanwhile, Nicholas Ward is right here alongside Zach Schrintenel. He's trying to make that pass. He's low. He's got room. And he's just about clear and gets the job done over Schrintenel. That's Nicholas Ward up to 8th. Aaron Eads 22nd up to 10th. He's up 12 places. Difficulty, of course, for some of these moves a little higher than others, and when everyone's on the same set of rubber, it becomes a lot more challenging. So, while Andrew Hamilton, by and large, has the advantage over almost everyone in the top 10, someone like John Navarro versus Don Stevenson, for instance, these guys are very similar to each other. When it comes to their performance, it just depends on how they can drive it. Tire wear, marginally different across everyone. And so it means right now, the difference is what you know and how you control your car. That's what's gotten Ethan Lane a 3-second net lead and has kept everyone else at bay. Aaron Kovnat is 3 seconds back on the next closest driver in Nolan Potter. Cody Smith is about a half second ahead. It's a realistic gap between he and Potter. It could change. Ethan Lane is about another 3 seconds up on those three, from 2nd to 4th. You got your leader. You've got the rest of your top 3, and you got 4th. And then you have everyone else all way further behind. Newest racing shop Camaro. The best of the rest, shall we say, is Nolan Potter is very clearly in that podium fight and vying for a chance to blow this race open and give himself a podium run. 45 laps to go, and with time to spare, Nolan coming up on another lapper here. Gonna be pretty light and easy. Haven't had a lot of lappers go down on pace. That looks to be Matthew Cornell. Cornell was up there in the early running in the top 10, but it just looks like things have slipped out of his hand. And so the 88 waiting for next week to help. 44 laps to go. Kent Wetherell next up, who's gone one down. Kent in the number 70 Busch Light car is 31st. Ethan Lane in 30th here is catching up to the 30th man, shall we say, in Trevor Trago. Trago is the final man on the lead lap, racing alongside a few of your lappers. There is Nick Tarbuck. Nick finding himself 12 laps down, and not the night for him. Eli Cars, after multiple incidents, is 18 laps down. Jacob Fife not having the hottest of nights either, the 12th place starter, ending up in 28th. So that is a total for Jacob Fife, down 16 in what has been, unfortunately, a dismal night. Things just haven't gone his way later in the going. 42 laps to go. For Jacob Fife, so far in the season, he's been on a hard climb. Last week, he made up 19 positions. Yes, 19 in 1 week in the championship standings to get up to 10th. Just goes to show how tight the battle is, as he went from 29th up to 10th. Now, I think given where he is right now, he is almost surely going to fall at least a few spots. But again, 10th place he was coming in on, so it's better than having nothing to rely on. Don Stevenson with some slight internet troubles as we take a look back up there. Been falling back and forth. He's now in 10th. John DeBarro, the next closest driver to him, and the next closest just behind is 11th in Aaron Eads. Different looking racetrack as of late. Aaron Eads now finding himself P11, the highest spot he has run into this point all season long. Great running for Aaron with 40 laps remaining. Zach Trentino right behind him here. Let's see how this battle pans out as we look off the back end of the 0-1. Aaron Eads here holding down the fort on defense. What could be his first top 10 of the season. Don Stevenson is only a few tenths of a second away. And if Aaron has a little bit more speed, well, perhaps he can pull through and save himself really losing time and position. Aaron right now has the pressure of Zach Trentino, and of course it's one way or the other, which often is the way things are in terms of stock car racing. When the pressure starts to build and dirty air gets back in your way, it's hard to climb back up. So we'll see if Zach even has the pace to really put that pressure down. For the time being anyway, everyone's stable and it really not a lot of movement. Lappers may be getting into the mix, but trouble for these leaders so far. Excitement comes from perhaps the next few laps. I mean, we have 36 laps to go. The final 10 to 15 will be that last chance, but right now, especially when we talk about the leaders, there is no last chance that's really needed. Ethan Lane is up 3 seconds. Cody Smith, one of the best by all means at Phoenix, showing it again. And this is the difference between being one of the best at a racetrack, which Cody Smith undeniably is. An Ignite Series winner at this track. He's bound for a podium today. He's gotten top 5 finishes basically every year in the FTN era that this track has been on the integrity schedule. He's great at Phoenix. This is a track he puts on the schedule. He circles it and he knows he's going to succeed. Then there's Ethan Lane, who I don't know what's going to stop him. Last year, he had a very slow start to the season. He won more than 10 races. Season before, part-time to start the year, he won more than 10 races. Well, he looks to be rather committed now, and in the first 4, to pull away with 2 would be a statement, putting him on a 15-win pace, which might sound ridiculous to say 4 weeks into the season, but he's the closest to ever doing it, and he's come within 5 of that total twice. He's come within 3 of it once, and you got to remember the accolades. He is a Cup Series driver, which means that among iRacing's oval racing populace, he is one of only 60 drivers with the credentials to compete at what is deemed the highest level of oval simulation racing, perhaps in the world. "32 laps to go." Cody Smith, I mean, we're not saying that to discount his run, though. Don't think of that as the way we put it. Cody Smith is, by all accounts, Phoenix in the Integrity Racing League. If you want to win, you have to get by him, and had it not been for Ethan Lane, he would have the lead by about a second and a half, which is a great margin, a healthy margin. Sam Nieto has not held much a candle either. He finds himself right now in third. Nolan Potter is in fourth, and he's comfortable in that spot. Aaron Kovnat is 7/10 up on the next closest in Troy Green. It's the battle of the rookies tonight as they're 5th and 6th. Kovnat having an incident today too, so I gotta wonder, is there any slight damage on that car that's inhibiting his performance? He seems to have come alive. Aaron is a driver who we've been watching on FTN for a while, but never have we seen him so good at Phoenix. It's a multi-driver team, KDR, but they decided to take a back seat and only had Aaron Kovnat as their driver in the Integrity Racing League. What we have seen instead, we've seen Henry Kaloff making his way down to the spotter stand and working it over the course of the season. He's helped out the number 63 in making calls above the racetrack. He's gotten on to the pit box, and he's been very successful so far. "29 laps to go." There's John Navarro. Navarro in 8th. Don Stevenson 9th. Aaron Eads is still here in 11th, but that's because Andrew Hamilton, who had that young rubber, well, it looks like now he's starting to see some troubles. He just got passed by Eads, as a matter of fact. Aaron looking for his first top 10 of the season, and he just might have a shot for it. 28 laps to go. It's a narrow run. 28 laps would be 28 miles, and even now it's ticking down further. Looking further beyond the leading bunch. Let's try to find a battle here worth watching. Got to take a look a little bit further behind. There's Ryan Bean and Blake Cannon and Sean Kalist. Cannon again, starting in second. He's now in 17th place, and so for him, today maybe a little bit more dismal than he expected performance-wise. Sean Kalist might just have to run off the corner to get the better of him. And really a far cry the expected performance from Blake Cannon. He finds himself trudging through these final laps. It's still toe-to-toe between these two. And this is for 17th. There are 22 on the lead lap right now. Randy Fiash just got put one lap down. The next in jeopardy would be Robert Richardson, who is 22nd and 23 seconds behind Ethan Lane. They are now on the same straightaway for the first time today. Ethan Lane in his own world, making that gap close to 4 seconds. Gap to third is close to 5. And now it looks like your top 10 is spread apart by some, 13 seconds. 13 between the best of the best in this field. And with 24 laps to go, it's only bound to spread even further than that. 23 to go now. With the final laps coming this way on FTN Broadcasting, if you're interested, well, we got a lot more racing of this style on Tuesday nights from here on out. From here to October, as a matter of fact, the Integrity Racing League will go back-to-back week after week with racing until we crown ourselves a champion. For now, with 22 remaining, we're going to crank it up with our friends at Whiplash Simcams. We'll tell you a little bit more about them after we get live and loud from Avondale, Arizona. Let's crank it up in the desert. Caution's out. Caution is out. Ethan Lane going right past the smoke, and the yellow will fly. So we've got trouble. Let's see what caused it. Getting a look back now before we head to, of course, yellow flag number 5 and a brief interruption in coverage. We'll step aside right after that, looking now to see what was the cause of the incident. And no driver officially deemed cause of caution just yet. There's the pace car coming out, but no signal as to who exactly or what exactly led to it. Taking a look upstairs, we're going to try to see what may have been the reason for a big yellow flag and to change the pace of this race and give us a short sprint to finish everything. Looking to see if it's anything we caught. Some double file racing just moments before the yellow flag, and we saw Ethan Lane going through a pile of smoke. Wonder what it was. The yellow flag is out, nothing clearly indicative of a big issue here. Robert Richardson, perhaps, is he back of it? Well, it looks like still no issues for him. Alex Kim getting away as well. The yellow flag out with 20 laps to go. We'll take a look one more time before we bring it back to live coverage. There's Joe Yates. Yates among those coming down the back straight at the time. Oh, Tom Wetmore. It was Wetmore up the track to 51, and he nudges the outside wall. That's the cause for caution, Wetmore. So Tom Wetmore sees an incident, and with 20 laps to go, coming to 19, it will be Lane in charge as we are set to go green. 19 laps remaining, and we will take a second shot at cranking it up. For those of you tuning in for the first time on FTN, you might not be aware of what exactly we're going to do. We're going to stop the interruptions. You'll listen, you'll watch, and it will be nothing but the sounds of the 30-plus engines looking to bring things to life here in Phoenix Raceway. Ethan Lane and Sam Nieto, of course, those two drivers are the leaders, but watch out for everyone. These engines roar, and they are a thrill to watch, and they're ready to excite once again as we are set to go green. Here we go for your fifth restart of the night with 19 laps remaining. Back on the way, we are rolling. Green flags out. Ethan Lane brings us to speed. Let's crank it up. Brought to you by Whiplash. .14 laps to go, heading toward a baker's dozen. It is Ethan Lane seeing contact in the back of the field. Robert Richardson, among others. The yellow flag will fly for the 6th time tonight. Here's a replay as we just caught it. Richardson involved. Here's a look back. Driver sliding around at the tail end. Andrew Hamilton, contact with Robert Richardson, check up with Cody Smith. And Aaron Eads also goes around at the same time. Yellow flag will fly. One more look at the second part of that incident involving Cody Smith. And a correction on who was involved in that incident. David Davis and Bobby Keith right behind at the time of contact. Davis slides around. Keith caught up. And the yellow is out again. One more look on board with David Davis. It's a big chain reaction. The backside was clean. But from the front, things get dicey fast. Huge contact for the 13 of Davis. It's going to make the rest of this race a huge challenge, but he should be able to get back out there for the final 10 laps of racing. Lane leads Sam Nieto, Ryan Potter, Troy Green in 4th. Green has gotten up to P4. Nicholas Ward is in 5th, John DeBarro 6th, Aaron Kovnat 7th, Don Stevenson 8th, Aaron Eads 9th, and Eric McFarland to wrap up the top 10. Little bit of a different look, a lot of the same guys, but in slightly different places. It's double file again, as Lane is head-to-head with Sam Nieto for what perhaps could be the last chance anyone has to take down Lane. Majority of the field still in the mix, but only 23 on the lead lap. It's time for Lane to finish the job. 10 miles, 10 laps. He wants to seal this win. It's its 6th restart, and it looks like it's a good one. Sam Nieto nor Nolan Potter able to match, and so the battle is second again as the sun slowly but surely begins to set here in Arizona. Down low goes Blake Cannon. We are back on the move, approaching the single digits. Contact, Comnot in the wall, big wreck. Stevenson being involved, and the yellow is out. Once more, big checkup involving Lyndon Wetmore too. And another good race for Aaron Kovnat and company. Perhaps going down the drain, laps away from finishing. So watch what happened here. It was 3 wide, and it looks like ping-ponging in the middle. Kovnat gets up in the wall, then turns down and into Stevenson. And this collects quite a few. You'll see right there, Stevenson involved. Up goes Ryan Bean. There goes Cody Smith. Then Tom Wetmore involved in a second leg of this huge problem. Multiple other drivers get into it. Wetmore ends up turned backwards. He spun around. Harsh hits. Wetmore was behind the beginning of it all, so here's a replay that'll show what led to his part and the last moment ahead. Even though he checked up big, it just looks like no room to go. and contact was basically inevitable. Wetmore comes down and in, so does Bobby Keith, Ryan Bean, Aaron Kovnat. 8 laps to go. We will return with 6. Getting back to work with just over 5 laps remaining. Another caution. Well, that will send us into overtime territory. So keep that in mind. Yellow flag. It flies at 194 here. We'll get back to business just ahead of the overtime flag. Any other cautions will send us into a race extension. Nolan Potter in 3rd, Nicholas Ward in 4th, Troy Green in P5. The biggest mover in the top 5 up 16. The biggest mover in your top 10 is Brant McClendon. McClendon is now up 21 on the day. Back in action. It's time we go green. Ethan Lane now seeing for the first time since the beginning of this race, Nicholas Ward is in the top 5 too. Watch out for him as he tries to take away a podium placement. Green flags out. 7 laps to go. It is your 7th restart. Wow. Wow, what just happened? Fife slides. I think something went brutally wrong for Sam Nieto in the equipment department. Watch this. No contact. It was contact from Potter and shot up with a hard overcorrection to end Sam Nieto's night. I thought at first that it was maybe an equipment failure. I didn't see the contact to begin with, but a nudge from Potter. He tries to get down low, couldn't get there, and shot high. An immediate overcorrection. Nieto's out of this one with 5 to go. We are on the verge of a natural green-white checkered. So, Nicholas Ward is going to jump up to 2nd after that one. There's Nolan Potter. Potter given the end-of-line penalty as he is given responsibility, or he is deemed responsible, rather, for that most recent caution. I think that makes sense. Nudged the 2 of Sam Nieto. He went up the track, and that is his night. So, Potter will have to start in 21st. We go green, and he'll have the better part of 2 laps to make it happen. Natural green-white checker does not count as an overtime attempt. If we end up in a situation where a caution does come out, though, we will see our first official overtime. So we would have up to 4 green-white checkers available. This one being the first, and there are 3 overtimes ahead. iRacing official pace car with the lights off for what could be the very final time on the night. Phoenix Raceway has seen some yellow flags scattered across the circuit from beginning to end. See what happens now. Ethan Lane, the dominant man, just looking to finish the job. The rest of the field wants what's up for grabs. Two by two, with 2 laps to go. It's time to fight to the checkered flag, led now by Ethan Lane. He'll get the bolt off the line. The green flag is his. It'll be Nicholas Ward right behind on the rookie and Troy Green. Now in third, the rookie looking for his first career podium is side by side with John DeBarro. Cautions out. We're going to an overtime finish. And a nasty, nasty wreck. So nasty, in fact, we can't even pull that one back up. And we're going to take just a moment aside to ensure everything's good behind the scenes. A hard wreck to bring us to an overtime state. We will be right back with your final 2 laps of racing on FTN right after these messages. It is overtime for your 8th caution of the day. We'll return after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
You have something in your mind, you are able to create it, build it, and then someone from the other side of the world came and tell you that they want to spread this product to 50 countries in the world, so it's a huge personal achievement.
Boundless makes its presence felt. It will not be ignored. We're helping turn ideas into reality with a wealth of building products that take every architectural style to the next level. This is what it's like to imagine, build, and transform anything we want into exactly what we seek. This is what it means to be boundless.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
With the race concluding after incident, Ethan Lane gets the job done and will win here in Phoenix, and he's now gonna burn the house down. Lane will celebrate his second win of the season. Now already off to a dominant start, shades of the last two campaigns. When Lane starts winning, it's very, very difficult to get him stopped. He'll take the victory and get it done over Nicholas Ward, Troy Green, and John DeBarro in fourth. Brant McClendon wrapping up the top five. And he's now going to make his way for the first time to one of the iRacing victory centers here. It's hard to catch it on the cameras, but there he is in victory lane. Just inside the circuit, the job is done for Ethan Lane, and he is a winner here from Phoenix. Ethan Lane leads dominantly so, getting the race victory with 142 laps led, even through overtimes and green-white checkers, and takes the win over Nicholas Ward in second, Troy Green in third, and John DeBarro in P4. Troy Green coming away with his first career podium, and DeBarro in fourth. Brant McClendon wraps up in P5, Trevor Trago 6th, Eric McFarland is 7th with Cody Smith, a ringer at this circuit, 8th, Ryan Bean in 9th, and Aaron Kovnat coming in P10. Stay with us after the following messages. We will get your top 3 interviews in, beginning with Ethan Lane. Next up is going to be your 11th place finisher, Don Stevenson, with Robert Richardson just after him. Randy Fias 13th, 14th Sean Kalis, 15th Nate Campbell with Ryan Potter, Aaron Eads, Andrew Hamilton, and Thomas Lynn concluding your top 20. 21st will then go and be David Davis with Austin Cardules, Alex Kim, and Matthew Cornell with Jacob Fife making up the top 25. 26th goes Bobby Keith with Nolan Potter 27th. 28th, just after him, Blake Cannon and Nolan Potter just ahead of Tom Wetmore and Zach Schrintenel to end the top 30 on the night. Your final 6 drivers go as follows: Nick Tarbuck, Joe Yakes, Sam Nieto, Eli Cars, Josh Gallagher, and Matt Janas. Those are the drivers from top to bottom in the field who made it happen here in Phoenix. So, the West Coast Classic has come to a close. We're going to hear now, first and foremost, from the man who gets it done. And I think that the laps led tally, it speaks for itself tonight with 142 laps led and already on to his second win of the season. We'll bring him in right now, and that is your winning driver in Ethan Lane. Ethan, back on top. Victory, of course, not too far from your last. Back-to-back now, and another dominant performance here.
Yeah, no, it was a good one for sure. I knew we had long run pace, and granted the setup wasn't to my liking, but we made it work with some master cylinder changes and brake bias changes to where we could pretty much almost push as much as we wanted whenever we wanted.
And today, starting, of course, on the pole position, track position looked critical. How important do you feel it was to have started there and kept yourself up in front?
Very. Um, that's kind of why I was like, I wanted to figure out how hard I could push that first run and just to maintain track position because I knew if I saved too much, I get married back and it'd be really hard to get back up there. Especially once you get back in dirty air and everything with old tires, it's not a fun time. So yeah, track position was really king today.
Yellow flags, especially at the end of this race. Now, I'll tell you this much. This car seemed to be a long-term car. Were you worried at all when we had those short runs breaking things up?
No, not at all. I knew I had short run pace as well, compared to long run pace. It's a very fine line now with the new package we have. I don't know if we had it last week, but the higher horsepower and less rear downforce from the diffuser going away a little bit. Um, you could kind of do a little bit more with it, as long as you managed it like the very first lap.
And all things considered, every factor played in your favor today. Having the pace to get things started and having the confidence to pull it through to the checkered flag, it's 2 consecutive wins. And a great start for you, and perhaps your best start over the course of your seasons here in Integrity. And now looking to keep building that momentum into next week in Dover. What's it going to take there to really prove you've got the stuff to go for 3 in a row?
That I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Dover in this car. Kind of wish we were going somewhere else, but we'll see how it goes. Um, like I said, who knows with this new higher horsepower that we have? I feel like it's played back into my hand just a little bit, so we'll see going into Dover.
Well, with that said, less pressure in the championship hunt, continuing to make up spots with back-to-back race victories coming early in the campaign. Ethan Lane, if you have any final shout-outs you'd like to send, the floor is yours.
Just want to thank you for putting on these broadcasts, David. Everyone over at Integrity tonight was a good run, except for a couple hiccups midway through the race at the end. But it was definitely fun overall. Look forward to Dover. Trying to go for 3.
Ethan Lane on the drive for 3 wins in a row, wrapping up with 142 laps led and a win here in Phoenix. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Ethan on the move. Lane winning last week, and last week it was your second place finisher, Nicholas Ward. Now this time around, Ethan Lane is the winner again, and second place is again the man in the number 97. That is Nicholas Ward, and he's with us right now, fresh off the heels of a second straight podium. Looks like these last few races have gone very well for the 97 team.
Yeah, we've been doing what we need to do to stay in a points battle all year long. Hopefully, this consistency kind of keeps us up here fighting for wins. Hopefully, we can get closer and maybe we can snag a couple this year.
So, with that being said, looking at this race as it was, you qualified 6th, you had great pace there, but you got involved in an incident early that made it difficult to work your way back up. So, what was the strategy you put in place to put yourself back in the fight, even with some of those early problems?
Yeah, the start of the race was just something. Like you said, qualified 6th, and then right there on the start, we just started dropping like a rock and fell back to 13th, 14th. I don't know what it was. But then as laps kind of kept ticking, we started kind of maneuvering our way back up forward. And then when we got into, I still don't really know what happened with Alex Kim there. I know we were 3 wide off the corner. We touched, and then I don't know if we just kept bouncing or whatever, but that's unfortunate. Sucks for him and Tara Buck. I know they got pretty heavily damaged in that. But from there, I honestly thought it was over. I mean, luckily, we didn't have much damage on the car. Restarted somewhere around 32nd, and the goal was just to try and get back to a top 15 because it's so hard to pass here. Turns out it was really good on tire wear, so that definitely helped as we were getting the longer runs. So really, it was just as we kept going, just kept trying to pick them off one by one, and a couple of them wrecked out of the way and so forth, and the split strategy on tires at one point let us gain probably 6 of them back pretty easily. And then from there, the end of the race, it was just hope we could carry the speed because this car was not a short run car at all night, and it was just throw it as hard as we could into the corners, trying to keep it in front of everybody.
You know, you mentioned something that was part of the race all throughout, and it made a big impact in helping you, tire strategy. Did you feel tire wear was a big deal? It seemed like the track wasn't too warm, but strategies were hugely separate.
I think there was a lot of guys that did have a lot of tire wear. I know that there was a lot of guys that had some pretty extreme tire wear. I thought I was going to be on that side of things, and as the race kind of progressed, I wasn't. I had actually pretty significant tire wear compared to some of the guys that we were talking to post race. So I think a lot of people did have some tire issues and concerns, and it definitely played a role. I know some of those guys that stayed out for the stage. I know at least one or two of them blew tires out. So I mean, there was definitely some tire wear. It was really important on how you got the car into the corner, because the corner entry was definitely the killer tonight. The cars were just so tight, trying to get them to turn. And I know a lot of us were trying to run really low brake biases to try and get the car to rotate more on the brakes into the corner, but it's just a really difficult track, and it's really hard on tires.
And even with some favorable weather, you mentioned it there, getting the entry, huge deal all throughout the night. Now, of course, 2 straight second place finishes. Last year was a big step up for you in terms of race pace, and it looks like you're committed to taking it to the next level. Next week, Dover, a very tricky track by all means. What does it mean now to you to just keep the good times rolling?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the goal is to just keep this momentum going. I know last year we kind of did something similar early in the year, was able to kind of build a little bit of momentum, and then once we hit the summer, we lost it. So really the goal here, especially as we roll into the next handful of tracks, there's some really good tracks coming up for us. There's a couple that are hit or miss. You know, obviously we got Rockingham coming up in a few weeks as well. We won there last year, so the goal is to just try and keep this momentum going. You know, we upgraded some equipment during the off season, and that seems to really be helping a lot. Um, but you know, I mean, we come to Dover, it's a great track, runs good for us usually. If we can keep it out of the mayhem, we should be in good contention to keep fighting for podiums and hopefully sneak a win off here sooner rather than later.
In the fight now to keep going after podiums and wins, Nicholas Ward, P2 on the day. Any final shout-outs you'd like to send? We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I just thank Jacob and all the whole admin team here at Integrity Racing League. They've done a great job over the years keeping this place running. 14th season here. It's awesome group. Would like to thank Sim Motion and Next Level Racing for helping sponsor and helping put on this series, and obviously you, David, and FTN. You guys make some awesome broadcasts, and of course, got to thank Universal Studios Florida and Chevrolet for helping us get these fast race cars out to the racetrack.
Nicholas Ward, P2 on the night, second consecutive run in the top 3, keeping the good times rolling here in Phoenix. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
With Nicholas Ward on the move, the last of your top 3 that we are going to hear from, of course, is the man who finished in 3rd, that being Troy Green. Green collecting his first ever podium finish in the Integrity Racing League, so a thrill for him. We're looking to see if he's available. Right now, it doesn't look like we have a read on him, so we're going to give it a moment, and we'll be right back after this final message. And if not, we'll wrap up tonight's broadcast with some final takeaways and what to look for next week's event.
You have something in your mind, you are able to create it, build it, and then someone from the other side of the world came and tell you that they want to spread this product to 50 countries in the world, so it's a huge personal accomplishment.
Well, unfortunately, first-time podium sitter Troy Green is unavailable tonight, but you heard from your second-place finisher Nicholas Ward and from your race-winning man Ethan Lane. 2 consecutive wins for Lane, 2 consecutive second-place finishes for Nicholas Ward, and it's a rather consistent bunch at the head of the standings. This is going to give Ethan Lane a huge boost, and it's going to bring Ward up to the championship lead as he will now fight against Nick Tarbuck to take that title. Of course, we're only 4 races in, and our 5th is next week. That will come to you live next Tuesday night from the Dover Motor Speedway. It's an exciting night from the West Coast Classic. Phoenix Raceway never disappoints, and even through some late race wrecks that brought us to the end, a very familiar face comes out on top, leading 142 laps and not being denied. Ethan Lane, winner from the West Coast. Thank you all for tuning in to tonight's coverage live on FTN Broadcasting. I've been your host, David Kreutz, commentating and producing. If you enjoyed, leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Your support is always greatly appreciated. You've been watching coverage of the 2026 Integrity Racing League and, of course, our 4th venue on the calendar, the Phoenix Raceway. Thank you for tuning in to tonight's coverage from Phoenix. We hope you have a fantastic night. Congratulations to our winning man, 2nd-time race winner on the season, Ethan Lane. And we hope to see you all next week from Dover, Delaware, as we go at it for Race 5 on the 2026 calendar. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week. We hope you have a fantastic night.